Hello and welcome back to another speed build with Frimlin, and I'm making a modern fusion kind of family home. It's got some items from a couple of different packs, so yeah, like my normal speed builds, I'm restricting which packs I'm using. And this uses items from the base game, Get Together expansion pack, and the Perfect Patio stuff pack. And there's just one wall texture from the fitness stuff pack, but if you don't have that pack, that's fine. You can still place the whole building, and you just probably need to quickly change one of the wallpapers to use one that's not in that stuff pack. And yeah, so the fusion aspect is I'm using quite a few of the older style objects from Get Together. But the building itself is actually quite modern, so it's a kind of a fusion of the old world kind of Windenburg style Get Together stuff and you know, more modern look as well. I basically played around in my build world for a little while, and I came up with something I liked, and then I thought, right, I want to make this into a big house. And so I went and started building, as you can see here, and what I made was actually a lot bigger than I originally intended, but oh well. So it's taken me a bit longer to create than I intended, and so because of that, there hasn't been any videos from me for a few days. Sorry about that. I've still got some Let's Plays to create. I've got some footage that I just need to turn into a Let's Play episode, and I will do some smaller speed builds. But yeah, once I started with this, I just had to finish it. I really liked the look of it visually, and as you saw in the introduction, it's basically a rock-strewn island in the middle of well, a fake lake. And yeah, so a bit different from what I usually do. I usually do quite functional builds, and I like building on small lots, because the trouble is a lot of builders build on big lots, and so you end up with lots of small lots in game that haven't been used, so I like using those. And I don't usually do more artistic builds like this. I usually, like I said, go for the more functional, practical kind of look. That doesn't mean I don't try and make my places look good. It's just some builders, you'll know, spend most of their time doing big artistic builds, and they might not necessarily be what you're looking for your gameplay. I mean, I know that I like more functional builds, but I also like things to look good as well. So my hope here was that I could try and do a nod towards the more artistic builds that other builders do. I can think of a few names. I won't name them here. You probably know some of the builders out there that do much more artistic builds than me. I worked in the games industry, making game content for almost 10 years. Just so functionality is really important for me. And I'm not an artist, as it were, so the looks of a building are important to me, but not as important as, say, an artist who wants to make a beautiful, big, dramatic building. And a few of the people I look at on YouTube only do houses like that, which is cool. I mean, I think they're very beautiful. But I think there's a niche for more functional, practical builds, and I've been trying to fill that niche for 3 years on the gallery, and almost a year or so on my YouTube channel doing speed builds. And relatively popular in the gallery, not so popular in the YouTube sphere, but I think that's because most people that like watching YouTube speed builds like watching the more artistic, big, perhaps less practical builds. So yeah, that's a little bit of a preamble to this build. And now you know a little bit of why I was making it like this. But despite the fact that it is a more artistic build, I actually quite like what I did with it, and I can't help but make the interior more functional and practical anyway. So I basically, now I've finished it, I'm thinking I want to move my Sims into here. I don't know which family are going to go in here, but somehow I'm going to get some Sims in here. I'd like to play in here for a while. There's, yeah, I think it's quite pretty and it's got some potential. The thing about a speed build is you could do quite a lot in terms of making it look good, but I think to make a place look really good, you need more than a speed build. I mean, I tend to, some of the places that I make in game while I'm playing that I don't, you know, usually show, they take much more time than a speed build. I mean, a speed build, I'm rushing around trying to get it finished. Anyway, there's the layout from below and above. I didn't spend too much time showing the creation of the rooms. I've seen some people talking in their videos about saying that it's a bit boring to look at room creation. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's boring? I cut it out of here mostly. I mean, I've left a bit of it in here. But yeah, just basically what I did is I just segmented the building up into rooms. They're not square, they're all different shapes and sizes. And I'm trying not to do, at the moment I'm trying not to do rooms that are less than 5 by 5. So a lot of these rooms are at least 7 squares in length or width or both. And I was intending actually originally for this place to be more open plan, but I don't know, somewhere along the line I completely forgot about that and I made these rooms instead. But it's still quite open. I really, in terms of gameplay, I really hate it when my Sims are talking to each other and then they go to do a certain animation, and because there isn't enough space in so many small builds, they end up walking outside onto the footpath to do their animation. Oh, that really annoys me. So this place has quite a few large kind of open spaces, and it's not you know, all squished together like many places are. Many that I have made, and other builders too. I wanted this to be quite open and, you know, as I've said so many times in my builds, gameplay focused. I want the gameplay to be the important thing here, and so I've set a stage of lots of space for the Sims to walk around in, and it might not be quite as open as an open plan building, but still quite open, as I'm sure you'll agree when you play it. So yeah, been working on the kitchen here. Very modern look to it, lots of black and white. I mean, actually the place has a lot of black and white in it, but later on I changed some of the wallpapers to use some more pastel shades. And actually this isn't a white, but it looks like a white. So, but yeah, I just wanted a more modern look for this place. And one of the ways to achieve that is to focus on the more black and white and metallic kind of look, and that's what I did here. The decoration object I placed in the corner there, I realised later on it's from City Living, so I had to remove that, but I replace it, I think, with a chair, so a Sim can sit there and read a book by the window or something like that. Very important in builds to have lots of surfaces, lots of free empty surfaces, and seating for Sims to sit on. And I would say most builders struggle to leave space on surfaces because, you know, they want to make things look beautiful, so the surface disappears, and, you know, a person would actually have to go in there and delete stuff to be able to use it, which I personally find a little annoying. But it's not a big deal. I mean, I understand, you know, it's not a big deal. and you know, whatever you prefer as your building style is perfectly fine by me. And this is my building style. I like things to be functional straight away, and I don't use move objects cheat, and I don't use custom content. And that is the reason why Maxis has favorited quite a few of my lots, because I've stuck to the rules. I don't feel like, oh, good boy, I've stuck to the rules. It's just, this is the kind of build I prefer. But anyway, I've talked about this kind of stuff in previous videos. I don't need to go on about it now. So I've been, over the last week, I've been doing a number of different things, but I've been distracted heavily by World of Warcraft because they brought out a new patch. Thank you guys. And I'm kind of hanging it out really for cats and dogs for The Sims. I don't think I'm going to be playing very much until that's out, but I still have Let's Play stuff to do, and I will get onto that. And I think I said it earlier, but I've got some footage already for Let's Plays. I just have to edit it up and stick it on the YouTube channel. But I didn't want to rush them all out and then have like a content drought for weeks, as has happened before with Let's Plays. So sorry guys, but I've been a bit slower with the Let's Plays deliberately. And yeah, but I also haven't been playing as much, so I haven't recorded as much Let's Play stuff. And I think I mentioned before, sometimes my lighting isn't great for Let's Plays, and I mention that because I do webcam in my Let's Plays. So yeah, if the lighting isn't good and if I'm not in the mood for playing Sims or something like that, then there won't be any new Let's Play footage recorded. So yeah, just a challenge to get by. But yeah, when things are going well and you know I'm in the mood and everything feels right and the lighting is good, then yay, I can make more Let's Play episodes. So yeah, adding more of a modern feel throughout the house, those lights, and just sticking a few things by the door that you need as a sim, like a place to stick your shoes and your coats, which of course Sims don't use at all, but you know, we like making houses look like what we would do in real life. So yeah, just adjusting this dining room area. I had like a little kind of corridor hidden behind a half wall, so you could walk between rooms, but then I realized you didn't really need to walk between there, so I got rid of it. You won't see me building any bathrooms or toilets in this speed build. Basically I had a lot of footage and I had to cut it down, and I've noticed some other builders don't show bathrooms, and they are a bit boring, I've got to admit. And also there's lots of really tight spaces in my bathrooms because I build with privacy in mind. So I didn't share any of the footage of my building of the bathrooms, and I hope you don't mind, but if you want to have a look at them, just download it in the game and have a look. It's right there for you. Trying to do something a bit different with coffee tables here. Because I'm not using the Parenthood game pack, sorry, I can't have the 4 square coffee tables that came along with that, so I tried to stick a couple of the 2 square coffee tables together, and actually didn't really like what I did with them in the end, and I replaced them later on with more modern looking coffee tables, but still stuck together like that. So this is like a downstairs kind of lounge, and it's right near the door, so visitors when they come in can come straight into here. So that's why there isn't as many chairs around the front door like I usually do, because you just have to move a couple of meters into the lounge and here you are, loads of chairs of all different types. And something unusual with the television there, the little half wall kind of setup. And the reason for that is, often when I'm building lounges I can have a bit of difficulty finding, the perfect wall to stick the table on. The television on. What am I talking about? But I thought I would get past that by actually making the wall to stick the television on, and I might do this again because I quite like the look of it. I didn't have to stick it on the only blank wall. I didn't have to remove any windows to stick it there. I could just stick the television where I wanted it. So that was quite cool. So you might have noticed earlier on, I didn't mention it at the time, but I cut out a segment of the house here so I could have a bit of an outside area, like a little barbecue, hot tub kind of area. And so this is that, and this little area in the center of the build actually disappears later on. You'll see what I do with it later on, but basically the barbecue stuff can't stay there because I will be moving it all. And yeah, so we're coming up to the end of part 1. Because there was so much footage, I decided the best thing to do was to split it, exactly in half. So this episode's about 18 minutes or so, and so is the next episode or part. And I hope you'll come back and watch the second part when it starts. Basically, I've released them at the same time, so you don't have to wait around. But yeah, so if you're wondering why it's coming to an end, that is why. And all the screenshots and preview videos and stuff like that, all the juicy stuff, are in the second video. So I do hope you'll come along and watch that as well. But yeah, still not finished with this one yet, still got a few seconds left. And this upstairs room, directly above the lounge, is like a party room. So again, it's very easy to get to from the entrance, which is something you have to think about while you're building your floor plan. It's useful for parties, for the main party room to be close to the front door, because when Sims come in, it means they can get to it straight away. I've just noticed with gameplay that it really helps. So yeah, party room with DJ booth and bar. And yeah, coming to the end of episode 1 or part 1, and I'll see you in part 2. Take care and goodbye.